Okay, so the question is, consider the transformed function, which is g of x equals -3, parentheses 1/5 to the x plus 2. And this is the transformed function from the original function, which was f of x equals parentheses 1/5 to the x power. So in this one, in this statement of the question, it's only telling you the transformed function versus the original function. And in context with this question, it doesn't really matter, but it's just some background knowledge. So then it says, find the horizontal intercept algebraically and leave it in an exact form. So the horizontal intercept is the same as, hold on, let me write it down. The horizontal intercept is the same as finding your x value, your x-intercept. X value when your y equals 0, or your x-intercept. So in order to find your x-intercept, your y has to be equal to 0, because your x-intercept only intercepts the horizontal axis, which is your x-axis. So it would kind of look like this. This would be your x-intercept. And you can see that it only happens when your y, your vertical value, is 0, while your x value, that's what we're trying to find. So in order to do that, we're going to use our transformed function. And our g of x, the whole value of g of x, is the same as y. And remember, g of x is just another way of writing y. It's just a notation. And since we said that in order for us to find our x-intercept, our y has to be 0, our g of x also equals 0, since g of x is equal to y equal to 0. So now we can write out the steps when we plug in the 0 into our g of x. So it's going to be 0 equals -3 parentheses 1/5 to the x power plus 2. And this is when we start looking for our x. Our x is the variable that we're looking for because it's the only variable that we have in order to find our x-intercept. So we need to find what is x. And the simplest thing to do right now is to separate everything from x. And we can start by subtracting the 2 from both sides. So -2 on this side and -2 on this side. So subtracting 2 on both sides, on this side, the 2's will cancel out. And then on this side, you would have -2 equals -3 parentheses 1/5 to the x power. Now we also have to look at other parts of the function that we can get rid of in order to make this as simple as we can. The whole purpose of moving the numbers around is to make this as simple as we can, because we can't solve for x if it has all these other numbers with it, right? So the next easiest step to take is to divide -3 on both sides. So when we divide -3 on this side, it will cancel out. And then when we divide -3 on this side, it will be 2/3 because the 2 negatives cancel out to become a positive. So 2/3 equals parentheses 1/5 to the x power. Now this is where our log rules come in, because it's difficult to find what x is if x is an exponent. So this is where the log rule, let me write it here. So when you're taking the log of a number with an exponent, you could actually bring the exponent, which is x in this case, in front of the log. So now it will be x log of b. And this is one of the most important rules. So just make sure to go over your log rules. So now we're going to multiply log on both sides. And we do it on both sides because we're trying to keep the ratio even. Anything that you do on one side, you also have to do it on the other side. So let's multiply by log on both sides. So log of 2 over 3 equals log of 1/5 to the x power. And remember, because of this rule, we can bring our x to the front of log. It is no longer an exponent. So now we have log of 2/3 equals x times log of 1/5. And now the only step that we have to do is divide log of 1/5 on both sides. So when we do it on this side, it would cancel out. But when we do on this side, we will get log of 2 over 3 over log of 1/5 equals x. And this is your final and exact answer. And remember what the question was asking for. It was asking for you to leave it in an exact form, not a decimal approximation. You will get a decimal approximation when you plug it into the calculator, and then you have to approximate by the first 2 or 3 decimal numbers. But this is the exact answer.